It was the middle of the night in a small, quiet suburb of Chicago. Amaan sat at his desk, eyes locked on his glowing laptop screen, surrounded by open textbooks and coffee-stained notes. Finals week was looming, and his future, his parents' pride, their sacrifices rested on these few exams. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't focus. His mind wandered. His heart felt heavy, pulled by something he couldn't name. He rubbed his eyes and opened YouTube, hoping to find a motivational talk, maybe a scholar's lecture to clear his mind. Instead, he stumbled upon a thumbnail titled, "The Man Who Missed His Prayer." Something nudged him to click. The video began with a soft voice narrating a story, one that would shake Amaan to his core. There was a man in Damascus, the speaker began, named Idris. Idris was a young scholar, known for his eloquent speech and unmatched knowledge of the Quran. People came from distant towns just to hear him speak. But despite his wisdom, Idris harbored a secret. He was losing the ability to focus during prayer. It began slowly, the narrator said. First, during salah, his mind wandered to his lecture notes. Then to the people who praised him. Then to what he would wear, or eat, or say next. And soon, even while standing before Allah, he was thinking of everything but Allah. Troubled, Idris sought counsel from an old teacher, Sheikh Rahman, who lived in the hills outside the city. The sheikh was known not for his scholarly fame, but for his humility and contentment. "Sheikh," Idris asked one evening after Maghrib, "why can't I focus? I know the meaning of every verse I recite, yet my heart is empty." The sheikh looked at him with kind, weathered eyes and asked, "When was the last time you gave something purely for Allah, without seeking recognition, praise, or benefit?" Idris blinked, startled. He couldn't recall. The sheikh smiled gently. "Knowledge fills the mind, but compassion fills the heart. And the heart, my son, is where khushu lives." That night, Idris left the sheikh's home and wandered through the narrow alleys of Damascus. Near the city's edge, he saw a boy, no more than 10, selling dates on the roadside. The boy's clothes were thin, torn at the edges, his face pale from cold. But what struck Idris most was his eyes that still held hope. "Why are you out here so late?" Idris asked. The boy replied, "My mother is sick, sir. She hasn't eaten. I must sell enough dates to buy her bread and medicine." Idris reached into his coat and handed the boy a gold coin enough to feed them for a month. The boy stared at him, wide-eyed. "But you didn't even take any dates?" Idris knelt down. "No, I just want your dua. That will be enough for me." The boy burst into tears, clutching Idris's hand. "May Allah give you light in your heart when you stand before him." Amaan paused the video, his eyes stinging. He couldn't explain why, but it felt as if the story was about him. He remembered his mother's quiet sighs as she massaged her swollen knees after cleaning houses all day. He remembered the old man at the mosque who always smiled but never had shoes that fit. He remembered the homeless brother who stood outside the masjid every Jumu'ah, invisible to the crowd. He had been so focused on success, he had forgotten service. Amaan closed his laptop, grabbed his jacket, and walked out into the icy night. The next morning, the old man at the mosque found a warm winter coat waiting for him with a note, "For you, from your brother in faith." The homeless man found a meal and a hand on his shoulder. Amaan's mother, for the first time in months, came home to dinner already cooked and her son waiting with a smile. And that night, when Amaan stood for prayer, something had shifted. The verses echoed deeper. The stillness came easier. He wasn't just reciting anymore, he was feeling. Why couldn't he focus before? Because his heart had been full of anxiety, pride, pressure. There had been no room for Allah. But now, by giving to others, he had emptied his heart, and that emptiness became space for presence. The secret to focus, to peace, to barakah isn't always more discipline. Sometimes, it's more kindness. Because when you serve others for the sake of Allah, you don't lose time. You gain clarity. And sometimes, in giving others a reason to smile, you remember your own reason to pray.